I had to stop thinking normal. I had to stop thinking normal. I can no longer be a common man walking around doing common things. But no one taught me this stuff. It wasn't like I paid a trainer to come train me. Jenny Craig didn't come down and miracle my ass. None of this happened. It was on me. And that's what you have to realize. Everything you do, you may have some support, you may not, but it's on you. You have to make the decision whether you want to be a badass or whether you just want to be mediocre and everything's okay. We have to break the barriers within our minds, within the world. And it starts with yourself. It starts with yourself. You got to break the barriers down within yourself and just go there. You got to go to yourself. You're going to find peace from going to war with yourself because we all got shit. We all got shit. People look at me. The reason my story resonates with people because I don't hide. I'll tell you exactly who the fuck I am. I will admit to it. People are great at hiding. So they want to just find peace. No, you got to take your shit, fix whatever's fucked up in you. Don't just shove it under the rug. Fix it, and then you'll find some peace later after you fix some shit. So now I'm realizing this. I go home, several months go by, and now I'm like, okay, here we go. It's time to be an Navy SEAL. With success in life comes more haters. Don't make them hurt your feelings. Use them for fuel. Use them for energy. In times of need, put them on the fucking mental Rolodex in your mind. And when you don't want to do shit, roll through your brain. Pull up that motherfucker that you need. That person who said you couldn't do something. Weren't fast enough, good enough, smart enough, whatever the fuck it may be. Use it for energy. Instead of killing them with kindness, torch them with fucking success. In life, we have to continue pushing past the odds. Use everything this world has to give you for fuel. Stay hard. It's so easy to be great nowadays, my friend, because most people are weak. Most people don't want to go that extra mile. Most people don't want to find that extra because it sucks. It's miserable. It's lonely. You talk about that you were kind of, lonely by yourself. I was the same way. And that used to hurt me growing up. Now I fucking thrive in this shit. That's the only place to be. We all have a dungeon. I'm just willing to talk about mine.
Yeah.
Most of us aren't willing to talk about it. I'm willing to talk about my dungeon. I wasn't building that so-called mental toughness. Mental toughness isn't something that you sample. It's something that you live in every day. So when something hard would happen to these kids, like in Hell Week, it would draw on something that made them very insecure. And they look for comfort. Whenever hardness comes, and you don't know what it is, it may be different for you than it is for me, but you go back to your insecurities. And then when you go back to your insecurities, you then look for comfort within those insecurities. And we all look for that cookie that your mom used to give you when you were sad, when you were sick. We look for our wife or our husband. We look for comfort. It's in those moments you must retrain your mind to think differently in hell. This isn't for the masses. This is for those who want to leave normal behind. Those who are in search of a new realm. It's a lonely journey. You're isolated. Those who used to keep pace with you will fall off. They'll see where their world ends and yours begins. Your ability to suffer, endure, outwork must be greater. You must be willing to extend yourself to the limit with no guarantee of success. Every day, you must ask yourself, did I do enough? Stay hard. The physical standard is not what they need to meet. It's a mental standard you must meet in life. So going back to when I was sick, I was hitting the physical standards. I wasn't meeting the mental standard. The mental standard is you must know how far you've come. I had come 8,000 miles from where I started. But if you never know that, you're still in the $7 a month place. When I was sick, I was able to slow it down and reflect back on my entire life. And in that bed, when I thought I was dying, because that story is long, that sick portion of my life is long, I didn't care if I died or lived. Because I was, for the first time in my life, happy and at peace. because I reflected back on where it started. It wasn't like someone came down here and guided me through life. When you figure this out on your own, the amount of pride and dignity and self-respect you have. That's why I walk around the streets with a backpack and just like, I don't need anything else. You figure it out by going inside yourself, by callousing over the victim's mentality. You're always a victim, even if you have everything in life, until you realize that you've cheated. This is my life. I'm not that smart. I'm depressed. I have a horrible life. I have these two guys. One guy that, so I became this 297-pound person because it became my body armor.
Yeah.
Because the inside was a fragile, weak, insecure kid. So I put this big man around it. So when people looked at me, I intimidated them. I scared them. But if they knew the real me, just a little punk.
Yeah.
I was a little punk kid in a 24-year-old guy's body. So I said to myself, I'm gonna run 4 miles. My first run out the gate, I'm gonna run 4 miles. I ran a mile, I ran a quarter of a mile, walked home, sat on the couch depressed. I said, man, there's no way I can do this. But what I realized though, is I wasn't gonna give up. Because I'd already given up a million times. And I thought about how would I feel at 50 years old if I gave up now? I mean, not to have, you know, so I kept all this stuff in my mind. And basically, I started becoming obsessed. I slowly, it didn't happen that night on the couch.
Right.
Over a period of time, I started becoming obsessed with studying, with weight, with being somebody, with making people who thought was gonna be nothing kind of like feel like shit. I became obsessed with, you have to make this right. And the only person who could do it is yourself. So I became obsessed with just being obsessed. And that's what it was, man. I saw some guys going through Navy SEAL training and they're going through Hell Week and they're getting their ass just beat. You know, in and out of the water, guys ringing the bell. There's suffering. And I was weighing like 297 pounds. And I had to make a change in my life. You know, I was at an all-time low and I wasn't going anywhere. And I was exactly what everybody said I was going to be, which was nothing. So I had to make a change. Long story short, what I realized was no one was here to help me. And the feeling I had every morning, I looked in the mirror, was horrible. And I didn't want to feel like that in there. And how I felt was a kid going nowhere, a kid that was scared. And most kids will accept that and look for help. But the best thing that happened to me, no one helped me. No one felt sorry for me. No one looked at me and said, like this day and age, they'll take you in and they'll tell everybody, stop picking on this person. Back then, they didn't care. Well, life took me somewhere unexpected. I'm unprepared. It's about 6 degrees out here and I'm underdressed, but guess what? No one gives a fuck. You gotta get the motherfucker in. Sometimes life can really hijack your fucking mind. When that happens to you, you're all fucked up. Your goals, your ambitions, everything is out the fucking window. In life, we all go through different things. Sometimes your girlfriend or boyfriend breaks up with you. Guess what? Get the fuck over it. They no longer want you. Maybe you failed a test in school. You worked your ass off. Guess what? You failed the fucking test. Get over it. Move past it. Learn to not let life hijack your brain. At work, you've been working your ass off for that new promotion. You don't fucking get it. Someone else does. Maybe they kiss better ass than you do. Guess what? Get over it. Life will hijack your mind if you let it. Don't allow all these things to make you a lesser person. You must own your mind. Don't let life own yours. Get after it, stay hard. I had to figure out I wasn't going to be a punk kid all my life. So the only way I could turn around was to suffer. I had to build calluses in my brain the same way I built calluses on my hands. So I broke the Guinness Book of World Records for pull-ups a long time ago, but I failed at it twice. And I did 67,000 pull-ups in trying to break this record. So to do 4,030 pull-ups, I had to do 67,000 for training for that.
Wow.
And so what I realized is for me to become the man I wanted to become, I saw myself as the weakest person God ever created. But I never blamed God for anything he did to me. So I wanted to change that to be the hardest man ever created. Am I that? I don't know, but you had to have a goal. And my goal when I was sitting there, not going to school, being bullied, having no self-esteem, my goal was the only person that's going to turn this person around is me. The only way I can turn it around is put myself through the worst things possible a human being can ever endure. And that'd be the only way that I can build this brain to handle anything that comes in front of it, callousing my mind through pain and suffering. Well, my biggest advice to him is that, first of all, he won't like what I say to him, because I'm going to say the exact opposite of what today's world is saying. So we read a bunch of books nowadays. As humans, we want to find out how to be someone else. What we don't do is we don't go inside. So literally turn yourself inside out. Read the book that says, like we're writing a book every day of our lives, but we never read that book. So what I would challenge this young man or young woman to do is you have to look inside of yourself to see what you really want. What are you passionate about? We use these words and these little phrases of only the strong survive and all this other crap. They're all just fucking words. I get so tired of hearing people just talking. Like right now, someone may think Goggine's just talking. You don't know me. So when I speak from passion. I speak from experience. I speak from suffering. I have to tell this young man or woman that the only way I believe, and this is my experience in life, the only way you're ever going to get to the other side of this journey is you have got to suffer to grow. To grow, you must suffer. And some people will get it, some people won't. But they have to see what their journey is to start their journey. Several people live to be 100 years old. They have great lives, and they have great kids. Their kids go to college and all sorts of stuff. But somewhere in their life, there was a point where they had a decision to make. They can go left or right on this path. Left was the easy route. Right was the hard route. A lot of people take the easy route. And they had a good life that way, but the better life was going to the right side. And you may have 20 years of pain and suffering to get past it, but a lot of us die never truly starting our journey. And I would tell this young person, you gotta start your journey. It may suck, but it will come out the other side where you're coasting.
If you're chasing her more than your future, you've already lost. She's not leaving because you're too much. She's leaving because you're not enough of a man yet. Build so hard she has to Google your name just to remember what she walked away from. You want the truth about relationships? Fine, I'll give you the truth no one else has the balls to say. Modern dating is a battlefield, and most of you walk into it unarmed, emotionally fragile, validation seeking, with zero value built and an ego inflated by delusion. You've been raised to think if you're nice enough, if you're loyal enough, if you treat her right, she'll love you forever. Absolute nonsense. That's not how women operate. That's not how the real world works. You've been sold a fairy tale built by people who wanted you weak, passive, compliant. Because a weak man is easy to control, and a man who needs a woman to feel whole will always compromise who he is just to keep her. That's not love, that's slavery dressed in romance. Women don't love men who chase, they love men who lead. They love men who don't explain every move, who don't ask permission to be powerful. A man who stands firm, who owns his decisions, who commands his life like a general. And you've been told to bow down. You've been told to understand her needs while she disrespects your time, your values, your mission. You tolerate disrespect, hoping she'll change. But let me break the illusion. If she doesn't respect you from day one, she never will. Respect isn't something you beg for, it's something you become. You want her to submit? Become someone she wants to follow. You want her loyalty? Build a life she doesn't want to lose. Because the second she senses weakness, the second she smells desperation, it's over. She'll smile, nod, play nice, and emotionally clock out behind your back. You'll never know when it started. You'll just feel it, that distance, that coldness, that shift from love to obligation. And you'll sit there confused, asking what went wrong, when the truth is simple: you lost yourself trying to keep her. You don't win in relationships by being available. You win by being undeniable. The man who wakes up early, hits the gym, stacks his money, sharpens his mind, stays locked in, he becomes magnetic. His energy radiates certainty. He doesn't ask a woman to stay. She fights to earn a place beside him. Why? Because women don't want perfection. They want presence, power, direction. A woman would rather cry in a Lamborghini than laugh on a bicycle. Not because she's shallow, but because security, ambition, and dominance are sexy. A man on a mission is a walking fantasy. You either become him or get forgotten by the ones who want him. And I get it. You've been hurt. You've been betrayed. You gave everything to a woman and she still left. That pain, that betrayal, good. Let it harden you. Let it break the weak parts. That wasn't failure. That was rebirth. That was life slapping you in the face and saying, wake up. You gave your kingdom to a peasant. But now it's time to build again, stronger, smarter, colder. Not because you hate women, but because you finally understand them. Because you've stopped living for their love and started living for your legacy. This doesn't mean you treat women with bitterness. It means you command respect before you offer love. You set the tone, you choose, you filter. Every woman you entertain is either your peace or your poison. And a man who knows his worth doesn't let chaos in his castle. That's the truth. If she isn't helping you build, she's helping you break. And you can't afford to break anymore. You are not here to worship women. You are here to build a life worth worshiping. And when that life is solid, the right woman will fall into place naturally. She'll respect your time. She'll nurture your ambition. She'll follow your lead, not out of fear, but out of admiration. Because deep down, every real woman wants a man she can look up to. And the moment you give her that, she'll do anything to keep it. You were never meant to be soft, emotional, always available. You were meant to be sharp, ruthless, unshakable, a leader. And in a world full of boys chasing bodies and begging for attention, be the man who chases purpose and commands attention. Be the man who doesn't get heartbroken over women because he's too busy building a kingdom that women beg to be part of. And this is your wake-up call. This is the moment you stop crying over lost love and start creating a life so powerful, so high value, that the same women who once ignored you now compete just to be in your presence. That's how you win. That's how you date from power. That's how you take your throne back. I remember a time years ago when I gave everything to a woman who didn't even know how to value a man. I was young, full of drive, but blind to the truth. I thought loyalty meant sacrifice. I thought love meant tolerance. I was building my empire with bare hands while giving her the crown before it was even earned. She didn't push me to greatness. She didn't sharpen me. She drained me. Every day was an emotional tug of war, and I kept showing up, hoping she'd match my energy. But here's the thing, when a woman senses you're willing to put her above your purpose, she loses respect for you. Not out of cruelty, but because you just proved you're not the man she needs. She doesn't want to be your purpose. She wants to witness it, orbit around it, feel safe inside it. But I hadn't learned that yet. I learned the hard way. There's one night I came home after hustling for 16 hours straight, exhausted, drained, trying to build something from scratch. And instead of support, I got complaints. Instead of understanding, I got passive aggression. You never spend time with me. That one sentence shattered the illusion. Because in that moment, I realized she didn't see the bigger picture. She didn't see the late nights, the endless pressure, the weight I carried on my shoulders, trying to give her a future 99% of women only fantasize about. I wasn't her partner. I was her emotional outlet, her therapist, her punching bag. And I let it happen. I enabled it, thinking one day she'd see the man I was becoming. But some people never do because they're not wired to walk next to greatness. They're wired to drain it. But that's when it hit me. She doesn't love you for who you are. She loves you for who you are to her. And the moment you stop serving her emotional comfort, she'll look elsewhere. That's not love. That's convenience. And it was the moment I realized I had to walk away, not out of bitterness, but because I respected myself too much to stay in a cage I built for someone else's comfort. Most men never get to that point. They keep trying to fix what's broken when what's broken is them, their standards, their self-respect, their direction. You don't fix your life by fixing people who refuse to grow with you. After I cut ties, I poured every ounce of energy into becoming the version of me that she could never deserve. I wasn't chasing revenge, I was chasing rebirth. Every gym session, every business move, every early morning and late night became a declaration that I would never again beg for love. I would command it. And as I elevated, something amazing happened. Women started to notice. Not because I was chasing them, but because I had become unchaseable. When you no longer need them, they become addicted to your presence. That's the paradox most men never understand. You don't attract by needing, you attract by becoming irreplaceable. I had a woman come back years later telling me she regretted everything. You were the best thing that ever happened to me, and I was too stupid to see it. But by then it was too late. The man she hurt was gone. In his place stood a man she could never manipulate again. That's what growth looks like, not revenge, but elevation. And if you're still crying over a woman who didn't see your value, you're disrespecting the man you're meant to become. The right woman doesn't challenge your masculinity. She fuels it. She doesn't compete with your purpose. She complements it. She sees your drive and says, let's go further. But you'll never meet her if you're still clinging to mediocrity. You'll never attract her if you haven't first mastered yourself. And that's the brutal truth. The highest quality women don't want the man you are. They want the man you're becoming, and they're watching. Every day you wake up, every time you skip the excuses, every time you chase your purpose instead of their validation, you're becoming that man. And when you finally meet her, she won't come to distract you. She'll come to lock in. But you only get that level of woman when you've sacrificed comfort for character, when you've bled in silence and came back sharper, when you've turned heartbreak into hunger. Because a man who's been broken but rebuilt himself, he's unbreakable. And that kind of man, that's the man women respect, admire, follow, and fight to keep. Most men are walking around in invisible chains, pretending they're free, while a woman's opinion dictates every move they make. You don't even realize it, but you've been programmed. You've been taught that validation from a woman equals worth, that if she's not texting back, something must be wrong with you, that if she pulls away, you have to chase harder, be nicer, do more. You've built your identity around being accepted instead of becoming exceptional. And the worst part, you think that's normal. You don't even question it anymore. A man who doesn't know who he is will always be told who to become. And when you let her define you, you're not in a relationship, you're in a prison. And you handed her the keys. There's a war going on, and it's not with weapons, it's with identity. You were never taught how to be a man. You were taught how to be useful to a woman. You were raised to please, to perform, to beg for scraps of affection like a trained dog. That's why when she leaves, your whole world falls apart, because you didn't build one without her. You made her the centerpiece of your existence. And now that she's gone, you have nothing. No direction, no purpose, no foundation. And here's the brutal truth. That's your fault. She was never supposed to be your compass. She was supposed to be a witness to the journey, not the reason you started walking. Every second you waste thinking about her is a second stolen from your own evolution. The longer you chase what left you, the longer you delay who you're meant to become. She made a decision, respect it. Let it fuel you, not freeze you. Pain is the price of growth. If she broke your heart, good. Let it break open the version of you that was too soft, too compliant, too forgettable. Use it. Mold it. Let it remind you that you were never meant to be at her feet. You were meant to be untouchable, a force so focused, so forged by experience, that nothing she says or does can shake you again. Women aren't attracted to the nice guy who bends. They're magnetized by the man who doesn't need them, the one who's so wrapped up in his mission, so consumed by self-mastery, that her attention is a luxury, not a necessity. If she knows she's the center of your world, you've already lost her. Because the second she realizes you live for her, she stops living for you. That's the game. Harsh, maybe, true, always. And if you keep ignoring that, you'll keep finding yourself ghosted, used, betrayed, not because you weren't good enough, but because you weren't powerful enough. There's a difference. What keeps you up at night isn't her. It's the part of you that knows you haven't stepped into your full power yet. The part of you that knows you've been playing small, compromising, hoping she notices your effort instead of demanding her respect. And let me tell you, there is nothing more dangerous than a man who realizes his own worth after she's gone. Because that man, he's no longer waiting. He's building, he's rising. And when she tries to come back, he won't be there, not out of spite, but because he's outgrown her. The man who learns to lead himself never needs to be led by anyone again. That's what real masculine energy is. It's not toxic. It's not cruel. It's directional. It says, I know where I'm going, with or without you. And ironically, that's the very energy that draws the highest quality women into your orbit. Not because you chase them, but because you force them to rise just to stand beside you. You don't need closure. You don't need another conversation. You need clarity. You need to wake up and realize that she was just a chapter, not the whole book. And if you're still stuck on that one page, you're missing out on the empire you're supposed to build. You're supposed to be dangerous, not violent, but powerful. A man who can walk away without looking back. A man who knows that losing her was the best thing that ever happened because it forced you to find yourself. If you died tomorrow, would she cry for you? Would she honor you? Or would she move on in a week and laugh about how obsessed you were? That thought should terrify you. That fear should light a fire under your soul, because the only way to guarantee she never forgets you is to become the man no woman could ever replace. Not by begging, not by pleasing, but by becoming the version of you that doesn't flinch, doesn't chase, doesn't ask for love. He commands it by existence alone. And once you taste that kind of power, you'll never go back. You need to stop blaming women for your weakness and start blaming yourself for allowing it. It's not her fault you bent over backwards to make her stay. It's not her fault you let her words shatter you. It's not her fault you paused your mission to become more convenient for her schedule. That's on you. Because the moment you made her comfort your priority over your growth, You surrendered your masculine edge. And without edge, a man is nothing. Comfort is where warriors go to die. You chose to be soft, and softness always gets discarded in the end. You weren't dumped, you were replaced by someone less available, more focused, and completely unbothered. You think being emotionally available will win her over? No. What wins her over is emotional dominance. The ability to be calm when she's chaotic, stable when she's testing, silent when she's provoking. A man who doesn't flinch when the storm comes is the man she clings to when it does. And you, right now, you're not that man. You're flinching, doubting, reacting. You're hoping she comes back instead of building a life that makes her absence feel irrelevant. You are making her the center of a story that was always supposed to be about you. She was the side character. You just gave her the script and let her rewrite your part. You need to dominate your mind before you ever try to lead in a relationship. That means knowing who you are without her, without validation, without sex, without compliments. That means building a kingdom so real, so structured, that a woman entering your life has no choice but to respect it or leave quietly. You don't win in relationships by trying harder. You win by becoming a man who doesn't need to try at all. A man who walks with such certainty that her love feels like a bonus, not a necessity. If you require her love to feel powerful, you were never powerful to begin with. Here's the truth. High-value women crave gravity. They don't want a man they can control. They want a man who controls himself. They want someone who isn't swayed by moods or insecurities, someone so locked into his path that she feels safe just being in his orbit. You've been lied to by weak men and broken women. You've been told to talk more, cry more, apologize more, compromise more. But the more you compromise, the more they lose respect because they don't want to date their therapist. They want to submit to someone they believe in. And belief only comes from results, from reputation, from the cold reality that you are unshakable. You're sitting here mourning the loss of a girl who was never built to stay because you were never built to lead. She left because you were still figuring it out. She drifted because you let her steer. You were trying to hold hands when you should have been building walls, setting standards, protecting your peace. If she walked away, don't take it as a wound, take it as a wake-up call. Rejection isn't failure, it's filtration. The universe removed her because your next version doesn't accommodate her chaos. Your future self doesn't need her. Your future self attracts better. Don't beg her to understand. Don't send the last text. Don't try to explain your worth to someone who never saw it in the first place. That's not strength. That's submission in disguise. Your strength comes when you say nothing and become everything, when your silence echoes louder than your arguments, when your presence becomes the proof, not your words. She was a lesson, not a legacy. There is a fire inside of you that's been burning beneath the surface, suffocated by heartbreak, doubt, and softness, disguised as romance. But now, it's time to let it rise, not out of anger, but out of clarity. Because once you realize you don't need her, you become the man she'll chase for the rest of her life. Not because you manipulated her, but because you evolved beyond her emotional range. You rose above the games. You transcended the role of her emotional puppet. And now you walk alone. Not lonely, but legendary. This is your moment to stop being a spectator in your own life, to stop overanalyzing text and start analyzing your trajectory, to stop building your self-worth around a woman's response and start building it from your accomplishments, your discipline, your self-mastery. You're not lost. You've just been distracted. And every time you placed your energy in her instead of yourself, you fed the beast that was set to test your focus. Women aren't the problem. Your neglect of your mission is. The man who knows where he's going never stops to chase shadows. Right now, you've got a choice. Either continue being a romantic casualty of modern chaos or become the man she tells stories about but never gets to keep. You have to take responsibility for the love you tolerate, the heartbreak you repeat, the cycles you stay chained to. You're not stuck. You're choosing stagnation because it's familiar, but the truth is, nothing will change until you decide to outgrow the weak version of yourself that needed constant validation to feel alive. That version was addicted to dopamine, to comfort, to female attention. It made you soft. But that man dies today, and in his place rises a man so focused, so dangerous in his intention, that no woman can distract him, only elevate him, or be left behind. Forget being liked. Be respected. Stop texting her. Start building. She left, let her go. She's hot, so what? Millions are. You're the prize when you're undeniably valuable, and value is built in silence, in solitude, in the gym, in your purpose, in the grind that nobody sees. That's where kings are made. Not in her bedroom, not in late night calls begging her to explain her mood swings. If you need her affection to feel masculine, your masculinity was an illusion. And illusions shatter, reality builds legacies. And legacy is what you owe yourself. From this moment on, you live like a man who can't be broken. Not because you're numb, but because you become so damn solid that no one else's chaos shakes your core. When she leaves, you don't cry, you reflect, you recalibrate, you upgrade. You don't spiral, you sharpen your weapons. You don't chase women, you chase purpose and let the feminine gravitate towards your unshakable frame. Because the man who's truly aligned doesn't beg, he attracts. And not through manipulation, but through the natural gravity of who he's become. Start treating your time like a treasure chest. Guard it, protect it. Don't give it to anyone who hasn't earned it with respect, loyalty, and peace. The same way you wouldn't hand over your life savings to someone reckless, don't hand over your energy to someone who hasn't shown they value it. Your time, your presence, your attention, it's royal. Treat it like it is. Not every woman deserves access to your kingdom. Some are only meant to watch from outside the gates. And those who don't match your standard will naturally fall away. Let them. Your evolution is not meant to keep everyone comfortable. This isn't just about getting girls. This is about becoming a man who can command rooms, build empires, lead tribes, a man who doesn't rely on love to be whole because he's already full, a man who doesn't text 10 women for confidence because his reflection gives him certainty, a man who wakes up hungry, moves with force, speaks with clarity, and lives with conviction. That's the man she craves. But more importantly, that's the man you were always meant to become. You just forgot. This is your reminder. You're not waiting anymore. You're not begging anymore. You're not playing small. You're going to take that heartbreak, that betrayal, that ghosting, that disrespect, and turn it into fuel. You're going to use it as a stepping stone, not a gravestone. You're going to train harder, move smarter, think clearer, speak less, and earn everything. No more trying to be the guy who gets her to stay. Be the man who makes her regret ever leaving. Be the man who doesn't need her back because he moves so far ahead she can't even see him anymore. There's no going back to the old you. That version served its purpose. He was soft, he was naive, but he's gone now. And in his place stands a man with fire in his soul, steel in his spine, and a future so bright it burns the eyes of those who doubted him. From now on, you walk like a storm. You move like a leader. You love with standards. You speak with purpose. You speak out your feet. You have your sandwich with a purpose, and you never let a relationship define you because the only thing that defines you is the empire you build with your own two hands.
Your wife breaks your heart. If you're not going to work, you can't sleep anymore. You're upset. She's running around with a new dude. You see her Instagram story. She's got some new guy. You're furious and you're angry and you're jealous and you're bitter. You have all of this inside of you, but you're not going to go to the gym and work hard and become so fantastically in shape and so rich and so powerful that no girl ever leaves you again. You're not going to do that. No. What are you going to do with it? Text her? Try and explain to her? She doesn't care. Like, you can write the most perfect English. You can write the most beautiful words ever constructed. Forget Shakespeare. You can do, it doesn't matter. She doesn't care. She just doesn't care. She's distracted.
She forgot about you.
She forgot about you. So what are you going to do with all of that inside of you if it's not positive? Well, it's going to consume you and you're going to end up self-destructive, or you're going to embarrass yourself, or you can take all of that and put yourself in a position where it never happens to you again. Those are the choices. So what's the most intelligent choice to make?
Yeah.
You know, I don't understand how many humans function in the world today. I don't get people who don't think like me. I don't understand it. I'm like, well, then how have you survived this long? Life is hard. Life is difficult. Maybe I've just been unlucky, which I don't believe in, but I've had so much trauma and bad events and negativity and stress and all these things that have happened to me. And I've used all of it to be monumentally successful. People are functioning. If you're not thinking like me and you're going through life with any other mindset, you've been extremely fortunate that God smiled on you and allowed you to sit around most of the time doing jack shit, and you have yet to be punished for that. Yeah. I could never have lived that life. If I was a bit lazy or a bit, or I was a bit of a snake, or if I lied to people, I'd be dead by now. Yeah. Like, so a lot of these people are just absolutely and utterly blessed by God that they managed to go through life with such a non-competitive mindset and they're still breathing. Like, I don't understand how people can think any other way. Yeah. I've spoken to dudes and like, yeah, I had a bad couple months. Why? My girl left me. You've wasted months. You've wasted months. Oh, like you had think of how much God loves you to have given you the grace and given you the opportunity to waste months of human time over some chick. Like, talk about blessed head to toe. If I waste months, empires are going to collapse. I'm going to end up in a cell or dead if I waste months. I have things to do every single day. I can't waste a second. Like, these people are just absolutely infinitely blessed. And their mindset is a product of that because they're spoiled children. Absolutely spoiled children. Because there's a whole bunch of people out here daily who fail. There are men out here who fail daily and they have yet to feel the true consequence for it. They fail to go to the gym when they know they should have gone to the gym. They fail because they forgot their keys and it took them 10 minutes to find them. They fail because they replied to a question they got sent on WhatsApp the wrong way. They fail because they didn't smile when they were supposed to. They didn't say please and thank you to that person who helped them. They fail because they didn't say hi to that girl who's looking at them out the corner of their eye. They just fail perpetually. They go through life missing every opportunity and just failing. And somehow we've built a society which is so soft and God is so giving and so graceful that they still have a place to eat and somewhere to sleep, and they're still surviving. That shows how nice God is. Yeah. Because before this society, truthfully, if you were that level of failure, you would be dead.
Survival of the fittest.
Survival of the fittest. And none of these men out here are fit. No. Their mindset isn't fit. Their reality isn't fit. They're failures. They're failures. Yeah. And they're just failing every single day. And they go, oh, but you know what? Tomorrow I'll go to the gym. Yeah. You've been failing your whole life. That's all you've done is fail. And then you sit and wonder why people like me absolutely and utterly outcompete you. It is so easy to become a top tier male in the world today because the competition is so ridiculously low. There are 2% killers like me and everybody else amateur, head to toe amateur. They can't even pay attention to anything. They can't try anything. They're amateurs. And it's really mind blowing to me because I've tried with all of my computational power to imagine having a mindset different to mine. And I just can't see a reality worth having. I can't see a reality worth living. I can't see how you're going to build a life worth experiencing if you have any other mindset. I've never seen somebody massively succeed and they didn't believe in themselves, ever. I've never seen somebody who just allows life to happen to them and become blown off course by some sadness, end up doing massively monumental and important things. I've never seen it. It does, and it's never going to happen. Because it's competitor. It's like crypto. It's player versus player. Right. I can sit here right now at power. I can sit here right now and recall events that will prevent me from sleeping for 2 to 3 days. That gives me a superpower that other men do not have. They want to go to sleep. They're tired. I can stop being tired for days at a time. I can just have a thought. I can remember. I can sit, close my eyes, and use the power of my brain to vividly remember events, and I will not sleep for days. And when people come to me and say, oh, this happened, I'm really sad, or my heart broke, or this bad thing happened to me, I say, good. Thank the Lord that he's given you this endless source of motivation. You're wasting it. That's your problem. But it's been given to you. Nitrous oxide has been given to you. You just have to use it in the correct way. So I'm the luckiest man in the world because all the bad things that happened to me have given me all the building blocks to become the most fantastic man on the face of the planet.
Grief. No one escapes it. Not the rich, not the poor. Not the famous, not the infamous. Grief is a natural response to loss. Often the pain of loss can feel overwhelming. You may have all kinds of unexpected emotions. You can be angry, you can have disbelief, you can have guilt. There isn't a person listening to me who hasn't encountered grief. You've lost somebody. You've been through some things. Maybe it was the loss of an opportunity. Maybe it was the slow disintegration of a relationship that was once a source of love, and now it is a source of pain. No tear ducts will go unused in this life. The moment the doctor slapped your bottom, you came out of your mama crying. There is no way around it. There is no injection for grief. No medication for grief. It doesn't matter how intellectual you might be, how wealthy, or even how spiritual you may be. Grief without discrimination comes to everybody. Don't let these people deceive you that they are so spiritual they don't know what it is to have grief. They are liars. Every last one of them are absolute liars. While grief is common to all of us, prolonged grief can be physically and emotionally debilitating. can affect your health, can affect your mind. It can affect the next relationship you have because you really haven't gotten over your past relationship. How long will you mourn? You should have overcome your grief by now. How long will you weep? How long will you be bitter? How long will you be angry? How long will you sob and mourn and walk around enraged? What good is it getting a divorce if you're still gonna be mad? If you're still gonna be writing notes and wondering, did you see him and who was he with? You are not divorced. I don't care what the paper says. You are still married. How long? God says, how long will you mourn over a door I have closed? How long will you mourn over a marriage that's over, a job that's gone, a girlfriend that left, a boyfriend that left? How long? How long will you be angry and frustrated and build your whole life around something that is dead?
If you're going to fulfill your destiny, you have to get good at letting things go. Jesus said, offenses will come. Disappointments will come. Betrayals, things that are not fair will come. How you handle the hurts will determine whether you move forward or whether you get stuck, bitter over what didn't work out. How many people are living wounded over how they were raised, a friend that walked away? They wonder why they don't have good relationships. It's because they haven't healed. God brings a new person, but they're so insecure. This new person has to keep them fixed. The problem is that's not sustainable. Until you let go of what didn't work out, that wound is going to hinder you wherever you go.
You would be shocked at the people who get up every morning with a heart full of grief. And it comes out in their speech, and it comes out in that snappy way they confront you, and you think they're mean. They're not really mean. They're still grieving. How long? How long does it take to get over a person? How long will you put your future on hold, mulling over your past? How long? I came to get somebody unstuck. I came to get somebody free. You cannot spend the rest of your life grieving over who didn't love you, who wasn't there for you. You're stuck. God did not create you to be stuck with a heart full of grief. It's why you can't fall in love. It's not that there's nobody to love. It's that you haven't gotten over who you used to love. How long will you be angry? How long will you keep checking their Facebook page? How long will you keep investigating somebody who's not even thinking about you anymore? How long will you mourn around the tomb of what didn't work out? There are some times in your life that you gotta get up, wash your face, go on with your life. Life is too short for grieving over who didn't want you, who left you, the job you didn't get, the house that you didn't close on. How long? I don't know who I'm preaching to. You are not yourself. You were not created for this. You were not created to be stuck like this. God wants your nerves and cells and bone and muscles to move. Somebody shout, move. I will not spend the rest of my life hanging around the cemetery of what could have been, what ought to have been.
Look, man, if you got something that's been bothering you in your life, get past it. Don't lay there wallowing in your past, man. Your past is back there.
It's much more freeing when you learn to let things go. Wasn't fair? That's okay. God will be your vindicator. They hurt you once. Don't let them continue to hurt you by holding on to it. Living in mourning is going to keep the new doors from opening.
I want you to think about somebody that caused you some pain. Let me tell you something about the mind. Tell you something super stupid that I used to do. Do you know for years I hated my mother and my father, whoever they were, because they gave me away? And guess what? I didn't have any faces for the hatred because I never saw either one of them. And then once I forgave them and said, had they not given me away, I would have never been blessed to have the mother that I have, who to me is the greatest mother in the world. You can't change the past, but you can reinterpret how you see it. Give an interpretation that empowers you. I let that luggage go. Think about somebody that you've hurt, somebody that you've disappointed, or someone that has hurt you. Look at them in your mind's eye and say, I forgive you. Boy, that's a heavy load to let off.
I want you to live in a continual process of forgiveness. Every day, we should be ready to forgive. I've learned life is full of wounded people. At times, they'll be disrespectful. They'll say things they shouldn't. You can't stop the offense from coming, but you can keep it from getting down in you. Joel, I can't forgive them. You don't know what they did. You're not doing it for their sake. You're doing it for your sake. Let it go. You have to give it to God.